Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE News and Rumors. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Hodge. This video is brought to you by SeatGeek. If you guys are looking for tickets for any event in the entire world, use code Hodge on SeatGeek and save yourselves 20 freaking bucks. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into all these juicy news and rumors I have for you guys today. Just remember, new episodes of the news show are every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. It is about Mr. John Laurinaitis. So John Laurinaitis, Mr. People Power, I guess he was either released by the WWE or moved into a different position or something like that. But basically, John Laurinaitis has been rehired for the first time as the head of talent relations for the first time in the past 9 years. So he was, I guess, moved into a different position 9 years ago or whatever, and now they've kind of gave him a dual thing. So he's the head of talent relations, but at the same time, there's another head of talent relations named Mark Carano. They were not releasing him. They're actually working together. So they're both going to work together to bring some people power, I guess, and just to listen to everything Vince says and do everything Vince says, because Vince loves people to do what he says.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Hey, can you bring me a barbecue sandwich now? Bring me the whole bottle of barbecue sauce. Thank you.
Alright, the next news story is about the WWE Hall of Fame. So, WWE announced this, and my mind is just, oh no, this is going to be a total disaster. So, WWE Hall of Fame did not happen last year. So last year, everything was just set into a big hectic nightmare because it was like, WrestleMania is being canceled, no, it's being moved, no, it's going to be the Performance Center, and then it's just like, what about the Hall of Fame? What about all these other shows? And everyone's like, just screw the Hall of Fame, we're not doing the Hall of Fame. So basically, this year, they've decided that since they already had a class set up for the 2020 Hall of Fame, they're not just going to, move the 2020 class to 2021, and we already know the 2021 class because it was already announced. They're not doing that. They've decided for this year, they're going to be inducting two classes at the same time. So there's going to be a group of people from 2020 that are going to be inducted, as well as a brand new group from 2021 inducted. So we have 1 million inductees for the WWE Hall of Fame this year. And there's just a lot. They've already announced one for this year's class. The first one that was actually announced is Molly Holly, so well-deserved, and she definitely deserves to be in there. The reason I'm saying this is going to be a nightmare is just because these speeches always go so long, and we're going to have so many people. They really do make the Hall of Fame like a 2-night special, because if we're trying to fit this many people's speeches into one night, either the show's going to be 8 hours long, or they're going to have to put a limit on everyone's speeches to 5 minutes, which is absolutely crazy to set them to a limit like that. But it's going to be a bit ridiculous. But the WWE have announced an official day for the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's going to be taking place on Tuesday, April 6th. There is no word if we will have a crowd there. I'm imagining it's going to be a virtual thing. There's going to be a virtual crowd, like the ThunderDome or whatever. And they're just going to do it like that. That's my guess for that. Tuesday, April 6th. They just announced that one day, so I'm guessing they're trying to fit 2 classes of speeches into one night, which is going to be interesting, to say the least. The next story kind of has to do with the Hall of Fame, because the Bella Twins are going in the Hall of Fame for some reason. Now, the Bella Twins are definitely some women's wrestlers that definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They were in that transitional era when they were they were divas and then they were women's wrestlers or whatever. They've been in both eras or whatever. They went from early 2000s to later 2000s. I don't want to say late 2000s because it's only 2020. It's not 2090 yet. Anyway. To have them I think they're some of the youngest women to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken. It's just kind of weird to be just a few years ago, I was watching you guys wrestle, and now you're going in the Hall of Fame? What the hell? Most of the time, people in the Hall of Fame are people I'm not even old enough to have, seen live wrestling. But I remember seeing you guys live. I went to the show, I saw you guys wrestle in the ring, and you're going to go in the Hall of Fame. That's crazy. I mean, you're well deserved, don't get me wrong, but still, it's crazy to go in that young. Anyway. This one is actually about Nikki Bella more than the whole, both Bellas, because Brie Bella could be cleared at any given time. But as for Nikki Bella in-ring return, see, we're talking about a return and yet she's going to the Hall of Fame, which is interesting to say the least. Anyway, Nikki Bella talked about it on the Bella podcast. They have a podcast now, I guess. She actually was asked about a return. Is she going to be cleared or anything like that? She said, as of right now, she's not medically cleared, but she's been working to strengthen her neck muscles and things like that to possibly get cleared in the future. And she's not giving up hope for a return sometime in the future. But as of right now, Nikki Bella is not cleared. But she's fighting, she's training to actually possibly get cleared. Now, I'm not too sure if Brie wants to get back in the ring or not. I'm sure every once in a while she would like to do that if I had to guess for her, but I don't think the Bellas are going to be a full-time women's tag team anytime probably ever again. But maybe a part-time deal, they might do that. But as far as Nikki Bella, she's had her neck issue, she broke her neck. It's just crazy the things that Nikki Bella has went through with her surgery and things like that. But just like Paige and so many other wrestlers who have had to retire for concussion reasons or neck issues or whatever, they're pretty much all fighting right now to try to get some hope to return, because Daniel Bryan never thought he would wrestle again. Look at him now. Edge never thought he would wrestle again, and now look at him. So it's not out of the question that some of these people who think they can never wrestle again might, pop up in the Royal Rumble in a few years. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that's actually the only confirmed news stories I have to talk to you guys about today, but don't you dare go anywhere, guys, because things are about to get good. Things are about to get a little juicy around here, so I'll go ahead and suggest for you guys to get your juice boxes out. Get your juice boxes ready, because ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to talk about some juicy rumors. Alright, the first rumor is about Virgil. Maybe this is a news story. I was debating if I should even include this in this episode or not. Basically, Virgil, if you don't know who Virgil was like Ted DiBiase, not Junior, but Senior. The $1 Million Man. His bodyguard was named Virgil. That guy used to, whatever he used to do, I don't know what he used to do. Anyway, Virgil's going around basically saying he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame 2021. There's no official announcement. A lot of people just think he's like trolling or whatever and trying to mess with people. And it's something he obviously wants is to be in the Hall of Fame. But the Hall of Fame is just a made-up thing. There's no actual Hall of Fame that you can go visit. I mean, there's been talks of building one, but it's just a Vince list, really. It's just a list of Vince McMahon's favorite people who he thinks should be in a magical, imaginary land of a Hall of Fame that's in Vince's head. Like, it's not a legit Hall of Fame. Like, Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, just comes up with people from the past being like, hey, they should be in Hall of Fame if I had Hall of Fame. Let's make a Hall of Fame, even though there's not a Hall of Fame. So it's very, very interesting. But they try to give wrestlers some kind of recognition because there's not like an actual wrestling Hall of Fame. Even though there's talks of building a one. There's talks actually building two. Like there's one WWE's talking about building. There's one like just wrestling in general. And maybe they're opening that. I heard something about in New York or something. But anyway, as for Virgil for the Hall of Fame, he's going around saying that. I don't know if it's true, that if he's heard something or not, or if he's just wanting to be in the Hall of Fame, but no official announcement has been made for Virgil yet. Alright, the next rumor is about Mr. Chad Gable, or Shorty G, or whatever the hell he's going by at this point. So Chad Gable, there's a rumor going around right now that's been started pretty much by, I'm going to use the WWE term, I know he's not called it anymore, but I'm going to say Scott Dawson just for the WWE fans, because this is the WWE News and Rumors show, not the AEW one. Anyway, Scott Dawson, obviously he's in AEW now, part of FTR in AEW, or the Revival in WWE. He's left WWE, right? But basically, so Scott Dawson tweeted at Chad Gable and was like, I know you can't respond to me yet, or maybe here in a few months you can, or you could go something along the lines of that. I'll put the tweet on screen. Basically, this has started rumors that Chad Gable has told friends outside of WWE that he will not be re-signing with the WWE, and he's basically done that. But here in a few months, or whenever Chad Gable's contract is up, it doesn't look like he will be re-signing, and he will leave the WWE, and maybe show up in some other wrestling organization. And I know everyone watching this video is going to point their fingers right at AEW, but AEW can only employ so many wrestlers because it's going to get like WWE after a point being like, we have too many stars and not enough spots on the show. Alright, the next rumor is about Drew McIntyre, I guess, and Sheamus or whatever. Apparently, now this is a rumor going around, at Fastlane, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus will actually have a last man standing match, right? So, the actual other stipulation other than last man standing match, this is actually apparently going to be a #1 contendership for the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania. So either Drew McIntyre or Sheamus will be facing Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, it looks like. That looks like that's the current plan, which leads me into the next rumor. The next rumor is, what is the WrestleMania 37 match for the WWE Championship? What is it going to be? Well, apparently, the rumors have been saying Bobby Lashley's holding on to that title. He's not losing the title. So Bobby Lashley's going into WrestleMania as the champion. And then who's his opponent going to be? Apparently the winner of that Sheamus and McIntyre match at Fastlane will actually be Drew McIntyre. So the match at WrestleMania will be for the WWE Championship. We have the current champion Bobby Lashley defending his title against the former champion Drew McIntyre. So I heard rumors of like Brock Lesnar or whatever, but I guess they couldn't set up like a contract and travel details and all that, so it doesn't look like Lesnar's actually going to be at Mania. So it's a little rumor about Brock Lesnar there. But McIntyre versus Lashley for the championship is the current set plan for WrestleMania 37. Now, I just want to say, there is no rumor on a winner yet. Maybe they're trying to have Drew win the title again and have like an actual crowd reaction. But I don't know if that's going to be as great of a reaction. For two different reasons. Of course, there's not going to be a full stadium. There's only going to be limited tickets available for WrestleMania for actual fans to be there. So that's interesting. Just the thing I'm thinking of right now. You guys know how like the Super Bowl, you know, they were in the Raymond James Stadium as well, the same stadium WrestleMania is going to be in. They had cardboard cutouts in between the actual people to make it look fuller. That works, right? But I just had a random thought. You know, I thought he was doing like this virtual ThunderDome thing. Well, there's going to be some fans there, but why don't like the blank spots where you can have fans? Why don't you just put one of the screens and have like another fan like watching live on the thingy? That would be cool. That's a cool idea. I just came up with. I don't know how good that would come off on TV, but just a thought anyway. But anyway, Lashley versus McIntyre is the current plan for the WWE Championship for WrestleMania 37. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, get your tissues out, get your tissues ready, because ladies and gentlemen, this is the saddest part of the entire video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final news story. This is the final rumor, this is the final thing I will be talking about inside of this episode of WWE News and Rumors. So this is about WWE's plan for, I guess, the ThunderDome, we'll say. So the ThunderDome, if you don't know what that is, if you haven't been watching WWE pretty much in the past year, the ThunderDome is how we're watching wrestling now. Like, it's an arena, but instead of just having an empty arena because we can't have actual fans there, due to the pandemic, they have put up like 1 million different little screens where the seats would be, and you can actually like FaceTime or video chat kind of deal, and your face pops up on the screen, and you can be at the show virtually while you're at home. It's a very cool and hip, if you will, kind of invention by the, I don't want to say WWE invented it. I guess other sports were doing it before WWE, but it's an interesting thing on the list. It's the next best thing to having an actual crowd. Of course, at WrestleMania, we're actually supposed to have an actual crowd, which is wonderful. Which would make most people assume, you know, oh, WWE, they're having a crowd back. It's going to be so wonderful that now we can have a crowd back. You know, AEW, WWE's competing company, has had a crowd back for a while. Of course, they're not on the floor next to the wrestlers, but they are there, and you can actually hear them, and you can hear the energy, and it just sounds wonderful. Because what WWE does with a ThunderDome, they'll like pipe in and edit like crowd noises. It's a fake crowd noise we're hearing on Raw and SmackDown and during WWE shows. It's a fake generated, computer-generated crowd noise. It's not the actual fans. Like for AEW, you can tell it's the actual fans, which is cool. But anyway, where I'm going with this is WrestleMania. You would think that is the first show that fans are going to be back. And then after Mania, we're going to continue to have fans. And fans are just back. Of course, we can't have 100% capacity. We're going to have them spaced out 6 feet. Social distancing to keep everyone safe. So you would think like Raw, SmackDown every week is going to have a crowd. Well, in fact, no, it's not. That's not happening. So what is the current plan? Well, WrestleMania will have a crowd, but it looks like the next night on Monday Night Raw, it's kind of iffy if it will or not, but my guess is no. And the SmackDown will not, and the next Raw will not, and the next SmackDown will not. So they're actually going to be having another ThunderDome set. Because if you guys don't know, they were originally in the Amway Center for the first ThunderDome. That contract expired because they were starting a sport in the Amway Center. The WWE got kicked out of there, and then they moved to a place called Tropicana Field. That's where they currently are, but that contract is actually expiring here in a few weeks. So the question remains, are they going back on tour, or are they going to find another ThunderDome place? Well, they found another ThunderDome place, and they found it, I guess. So WrestleMania, as we know, is going to be the Raymond James Stadium, but that looks like it's going to be the only event there. The other ones are going to be the virtual ThunderDome thing. It's actually taking place, and I have it all written down here. It's a weird, I guess it's a beer sponsorship, the name of the place. I'm going to use the old name. It is the USF Sundome. So it's basically University of South Florida, the college, University of South Florida. They have an arena there, and that's where WWE is looking at putting in the next ThunderDome. So that's the next ThunderDome location, is a college arena, which isn't a big deal. They go to college arenas all the time for Raw and SmackDown. They always have. But it's a fairly good sized place. There is a rumor that they might have the ThunderDome and have some fans be able to come into the ThunderDome. Or they might just do a complete ThunderDome virtual thing. But again, like I said in the last news episode, it is the current rumor that as to go back on tour and WWE to actually get back to normalness, I guess, to actually have crowds in different cities every week, that will actually start in the summertime, July to be more specific. So around July, we'll have a full crowd. But as for after WrestleMania, they're not going back on tour. They're having another ThunderDome, and now we know the location. It's going to be the USF SunDome, which is the old name of the place. It's now called like the Yunlin Center or something. It's some like I don't even know what country. It's like a German beer or something. But I'm not trying to like promote them or even try to look like an idiot trying to say that name, even though I just did. But anyway, that is the location of the next ThunderDome, guys. So there you guys have it. That's actually going to do it for this episode of WWE News and Rumors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Right now on screen, I'm going to leave a link to 2 previous videos for you guys to check out, as well as a button to subscribe to this channel if you're brand new here. But thank you guys for watching this video. I am Brandon Hodge, and I will see you guys in the next video.